Today I'm in Fort Worth playing some music at Panther Island Brewing Company. And after the gig, I had a chance to check out an interesting neighborhood in Northside, Fort Worth, not far from Panther Island Brewing Company, right there along Main Street. I've been interested in this area after passing it on my way to the stockyards many times. And you could see some interesting architecture here, and I was just kind of wondering what the history or what might be here. It doesn't necessarily look like a lot is going on this little strip, but there are some Mexican restaurants that I've spotted, and I just wanted to take some time to stop and walk around and check it out. So I mentioned this is a North Side neighborhood, but Northside Fort Worth actually encompasses a pretty big region north of the Trinity River. And the distinction between North and South Fort Worth used to be a lot bigger back in the days when there was the stockyards, and then you've got the courthouse that's on the other side of the river. Back in those days when it was a lot more difficult to get across the river, these two areas had a lot more distinction. Now it's pretty easy to get across the river, so they kind of blend in more easy with each other. So the stockyards is included in Northside, but the area I'm featuring here is even smaller than that. It's just a few blocks span going from Northside Drive to 20th Street. And I found out that there is a name for this little area. It's called the Marine Commercial Historic District, or the Historic Marine. So in general, north side of Fort Worth is pretty residential and it's more Hispanic, and this particular district has a lot of Hispanic heritage and culture. I thought I might see some plaques around the area that could help me understand the history a little bit more, but I didn't see any. I did see some of those Tex-Mex restaurants along the way and places that were serving up some micheladas. There's a long stretch of a building here that looks like it could be an old train depot, but it was actually built just a few decades ago as an event center, and it has retained a bottom floor for retail, and then there's a few additional floors on top of that too. And it's the Fort Worth Mercado building. I did find a few murals walking around, one of them featuring Latino baseball players. And there's a pretty recognizable mural on the side of the original Mexican Eats Cafe, which is a cafe that has a history going back to 1916. And I mentioned I didn't find any plaques. Technically, I did find one plaque that was right next to this History of the Vauero statue. This statue was honoring traditions of the skilled mountain horsemen that originated in Mexico and contributed to the modern day cattle industry, and even the role of the cattle industry in Texas as they were helping to drive cattle along the Chisholm Trail. One of the notable things here is the Rose Marine Theater, which goes back to the 1920s and has Hispanic performances of music and theater and dance, as well as films there, and it's the only active Hispanic theater in Fort Worth. Now there's one place you'll notice walking along here called Hugo's Cinco de Mayo Bar and Grill, and they do have live Tejano music there sometimes. And I ended up stopping at this place called La Playa Maya for some Tex-Mex food there on this day. So that's a little walk around the North Side historic area. Going back to earlier in the day, not too far from here, I was at Panther Island Brewing Company. Had a good Sunday afternoon here playing some music for the folks hanging out.
What the future holds, oh, I don't know, but I'm taking you with me wherever I go. What the future holds, this much is true. You're looking at me and I'm looking back at you. Back at you.
Thanks for checking out this video. I'm posting all about touring around Texas and the music scene of Texas on my YouTube channel here, including my own music. You should click on the channel and see which of those thumbnail topics are interesting to you. Give those videos a view, and thank you for giving this video a view.